1969, Michael Crichton wrote a great book, The Andromeda Strain. A couple of years later, it was even made into a movie. This was the heyday of the space program. The Russians and the Americans were engaged in the space race, and the story is about a satellite that falls back down to Earth. And it contaminates everyone in the small town where the satellite falls back, and they die because there was some kind of a microbe brought back from outer space. Everyone dies except for two people: the town drunk and a crying baby. Well, that's the best I can do for a baby. And actually, it's quite remarkable. It's a historic relic, believe me. That's made of celluloid. It goes back to the late 1800s. But that's not a story for another time. All right. So what happened? How come that the town drunk and the crying baby were the only ones who survived? Well, it turns out that this microbe, this extraterrestrial microbe, can only multiply at the right pH. And it happens to be the pH of human blood. pH is a measure of acidity. pH stands for power of hydrogen, which is a measure of acidity. Well, it turns out that our blood ranges from about 7.35 to 7.45, and it's very carefully controlled. It is what we call a buffer system. It has chemicals in it that will neutralize a base, neutralize an acid, if each of those goes overboard. So what happened in this case? Well, the town drunk ran out of wine, ran out of whiskey, so he resorted to drinking Sterno. What is Sterno? Well, you know, these little capsules that you see underneath restaurant serving dishes, restaurants that have self-serve counters. You remember restaurants? These were places we used to go and dine, and maybe we'll do that once more. So anyway, the active ingredient here that burns is methanol. Methanol is an alcohol. It can be intoxicating. Very dangerous, though. When it's metabolized, it changes into formic acid. So he drank the methanol, and the pH changed. It basically became too acidic for the microbe to multiply, and he survived. Luckily, he didn't drink too much of the methanol because methanol itself is highly toxic. Now, what about our crying baby? The baby was crying so strongly that she was exhaling a lot of carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide in the bloodstream is basically carbonic acid. Carbonic acid breaks down and carbon dioxide is exhaled. So essentially, by crying a lot, you're exhaling a lot of carbon dioxide, you're changing the pH of the blood. So she survived. In the book, eventually the microbe kind of dies away. In the film, I think they have a much better explanation for what happens. They seed clouds to cause rain, to wash the microbe down into the ocean, because the ocean actually has a pH of 8.1, which is alkaline, and the virus, of course, cannot multiply at that pH. So the rain washes the microbes down into the ocean, and the alkalinity of the ocean kills it. So there you go. Even though I told you the plot, there are more intricate details in the story. So go and read The Andromeda Strain and watch the movie. You'll enjoy it. And look for the chemistry that I just described.